Okay. Angie?
All right. Well, I just want to welcome everyone tonight to our Instagram training. Brandy and I are really, really excited about this training because we are going to share some things that we learned while we were doing a special training with corporate back in January. I guess that wasn't that long ago. Charlene, I say her name wrong. Johnson, if you do not follow her and her son Brock on Instagram, highly recommend them. They are amazing with Instagram. She actually taught the training, talked about building your brand, your niche, and just some simple things with Instagram that I'm really, really excited for us to share. So we're going to kind of talk about building your brand, what's working, what's not working, versus what's working now versus what was working on Instagram. We're going to talk a little bit about your niche. And if you are not already a part of the it's called Insta Club Hub. You can follow them on Instagram. Highly recommend that you follow Brock Johnson. And like I said, they have some really great tips and some of those things that we're going to be sharing some of those things tonight. So Brandy is going to talk about what's working in 2022.
Okay. First of all, I'm going to talk about what's not working in 2022.
Sorry.
That's okay. But like she said, Brock Johnson, I think his Instagram handle is actually Brock11 Johnson. And then the other one is just at Insta Club Hub. So those two are free. They actually give a lot of free content that is really cool. And they have a service that they teach, they do trainings, they do lives, they do Zooms, they do all kinds of stuff. And they're constantly updating like all the new things that are coming out on Instagram, because it literally changes almost every day. But instead of you having to scour the internet and try to figure out what the new changes are, what the trending audios are, and all these things, they do it for you. And I want to say it's like $27 a month. And y'all, I've done all different kinds of trainings, and I've paid a whole lot more money for other trainings, and it's the best out there, and it's really worth the $27 a month, even if you just do it for a month or two, just to kind of get your feet wet and figure out what's going on Instagram. So what's not working in 2022? Okay, overly branded or themed grids. So you know how you'd see people with like the perfect filters, and then like maybe every other graph or every other square was like a quote, and it's a certain color and blah, blah, blah. That's really not working right now. If you're doing that already and it is working, don't change anything. So that's one thing that she did say. If you're doing something that's working, then don't worry about this. Whatever you got going on, just keep doing that. But if it's not working, then that may be why. So people are kind of over, they want to see like what, behind the scenes. I remember during quarantine, whenever, you see all the stars, all of a sudden they're starting to come on, and you see them doing these specials on TV or specials on Instagram, and you see them like really in their real house and their real clothes without all the makeup and all the things. That's what people want to see. They want to see what you really like. So overly branded is not working. Single photo posts. So Instagram used to be just a photo sharing app. It's kind of not a thing anymore. You can obviously, if it's still working, still post those, but just know that reels are in and single photo posts are out kind of. You can still post them, but they're probably not going to get as much traction as say a reel or a carousel or a live, Also, long captions are out. They prefer, most people just have an attention span, like a super short attention span. I know I do. If I've got to read a whole bunch of stuff, then I just scroll on by. So shorter captions, overly too, you've come across these posts where people are literally like bearing their souls on Instagram. Again, if it's working for you, that's fine, but it's really not a thing anymore. And one thing she said that she even told Tarl and Alec before she came out on stage, she was going to tell us, do not post products in your feed. we want to create curiosity. And, if somebody, they only have a few seconds to decide if they're going to follow you or not. So if they go to your page and all they see are pink drink selfies or your bio cleanse or probiotic 5, they're probably going to not follow you, because they're like, oh, I already know what she's about. I know it's plexus, so I'm not going to follow you. So you can do that in your stories all day long, but in your feed, you want to kind of keep that, keep the actual products out of the photos. Cold messaging in your DMs, the hey girl, copy and paste messages are out. I'm not saying you can't reach out to people, but just definitely the copy and paste stuff is a no go. Link stickers. So used to have 10,000 followers to be able to get a link, so you could post your website in your stories. That now anybody can do it, but Instagram is not there. You can have the link, but they're not showing it to as many people now once you post that link. And she says you should not be posting a link that you can't track anyway. So if you can't tell how many people are clicking on it or whatever, then you shouldn't be posting that. Again, the overly curated, perfect grid is kind of out. And then of course, company specific hashtags. We used to promote, get healthy from the inside out. That was one that we used a lot. Or, we do challenges where everybody uses the same hashtag. We don't really want to do that anymore. You got to use specific hashtags. Okay, I'll go to the next slide, Angie.
So now we're going to be talking about what is working in 2022. And I don't know about you, you can share it in the comments. How many of you are excited that you don't have to be perfect and have this perfectly aligned Instagram anymore? Because I don't know about you, but it really stressed me out to make sure my colors were right and I used the same filters and all of that stuff. So I'm so grateful that it's perfectionism is not Instagram anymore. So what is working is value-based feed content. People are looking for value. Reels are the hot thing. And I know that reels can feel like if you just start, maybe it can feel a little overwhelming. Y'all start simple, don't overthink it. And find people that you like. And I just started copying people that I liked and then just went from there. And that's the really cool thing. I think that even Shailene said, I can't say her name right, but even that she was saying that, how awesome is it if the trend of what is working on Instagram is copying other people, lip speaking or singing other people's words. How awesome is that? Carousels are amazing. Single subject accounts, solving a specific problem for a specific demographic. So that's just really honing in on a niche, really honing in on something. And we're going to go a little more in detail on that. Share worthy content. You want something that someone is going to go and they're like, oh, this would help my friend, or that was really funny, I'm going to share it in my story. Share and saves are really worth more value in Instagram world than likes are now. Posting to your feed a minimum of 1 time a day. So, and actually it kind of goes back to, I wouldn't stress yourself out, because again, what you can be consistent with is the most important thing, and what's working for you. If you're doing something that's working for you, don't stress yourself out. But if you can post to your feed at least once a day, and really on Instagram, it's back to the old, the more times you post, the more engagement you're going to be. And I really liked, again, talking about not worrying about perfectionism, because the more stuff you put out there, the more Instagram is going to show your stuff. And it's better to have mediocre stuff than perfectly curated stuff. So don't overthink, and you're talking to an overthinker. So I know that's really, really hard for some people, but sometimes you just need to put it out there. So stories throughout the day, y'all, stories are so huge. And even if it's, you just want to really, it's if you could at least do 3 stories throughout the day. So, I mean, more would be better, just kind of like throughout your day. But to me, I always think like I have to have kind of like a guide. I don't know if you're like that, but to me, I'm like, okay, first thing in the morning, I'm going to put something in my story. Lunchtime, I'm going to put something in my story. And at dinner, or in the evening, I'm going to put something in my story. So at least it's like that 1, 2, 3. Don't do what I used to do, and where you're like, oh crap, I haven't posted anything all day long. So I'm just going to throw up a bunch of stuff in my story, and that's going to be my post today. You need to spread your stories out throughout the day. That's very, very important, not just loading up a bunch of stuff in your stories. So even if it's spacing it out, a couple hours or, in between each other when you put stuff in your stories. And a little tip on that, and this is kind of like off whatever, but a little tip on that is I actually created an album in my phone of stories, and it's literally labeled stories, and I just put different plexus stuff, different whatever. And so sometimes when I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know, I don't, where you just feel like empty of your creativity, I have stuff in there that I can go to and grab to put in my story. So that's something that's kind of helped me. So carousels, creating curiosity, again, like not coming out and saying what you do, which I feel like you can be more speak more on that within your stories, but creating that curiosity on your feed, not basically saying, showing the products and showing all of this other stuff. And then sharing other people's content. And I think that this is talked about later on, but I've been doing some repost and kind of like sharing other people's reels in my post. And then that's been amazing because it's like, I'm not stressed out about what to share because this is something that's kind of in my niche, and I can, I've already like saved up some things that other people have created that I can share on my Instagram wall. And I've actually had a lot of success with doing those. I mean, you can go look at my Instagram if you want, and you can see a few of those like inspirational posts. Those are all shared things. All I literally did is I copied it, I put it in a repost app, and it even, I got my little niche based hashtags, and it even like still had the wording. It gives the person credit for sharing. Anyway, and so that has been really, really great. And then automation, having everything kind of automated in there. It's really, really good.
Yes. The thing about the sharing other people's content, y'all, I mean, that was so freeing to me whenever she said that we can do that, because that's kind of what we've been saying for 6 years now. Don't ever hit the share button, but now it's okay to do that. And it's actually really cool as long as it kind of goes along with, the other things that you post and it kind of fits your vibe. Then, I mean, you can get views off of it as long as you give the other person, credit for the actual post. And we'll go over that more in just a few minutes. The automation that she was talking about is, there is actually an option. If you go to your messages, your DMs in Instagram, there's a little plus sign, and you can actually, there are other apps for this, but you can do it right in Instagram. So like if you have, when somebody says, what is plexus, you can have a reply already saved in your messages, and you can just click whatever keyword, say, maybe it's Plexus is a health and wellness company that focuses on, what is it? Weight loss, inflammation, gut health, and what's the other one? I should know this, but anyway, you can have little, little paragraphs or little sentences already saved in there. So it's just a huge time saver. And I just learned about this in January when we were out at Super Saturday, because Megan Ashman was literally in her phone showing me how she does this. And for whatever reason, I can't get it to work on my phone, but I think it's just an update thing, but you may already have that option. So that's pretty cool. And if y'all have questions about that later, just message me and we can talk about it. Okay. Okay, the next thing is your niche. Y'all, this is so, so important. And one thing that she said is narrow your niche. That it's kind of like the guy with 5 girlfriends who can't settle down. He's got to pick one, and that's just like your niche. Like you, I know that you're a mom and you're into gut health and you're into, I don't know, knitting, or you're into, working out, and you're into all these different things, because we all are. And especially me, I'm an Enneagram 7. So I've got all these different, passions that I'm super passionate about. And it literally kills me to try to narrow it down to one thing. But I've had to do that. And since I've been doing that, I've actually been recruiting people from Instagram, and it just shocks me. I'm like, what do you mean they don't want to hear about all my other things I'm doing? And it's not that they don't want to hear about it. It's just that they don't care. Like they really just don't care. Now, people that know me, maybe they do care about my cute kids and, whatever traveling that we're doing or whatever. But if that's not my niche, somebody that has no idea who I am, they could care less. They want to come to my page. What's in it for them? What can they learn from me? What can I teach them? Or can I make them laugh? Or, they want to get something out of it, or else they're just going to scroll on by. So, it's going to help you attract the right followers. Whenever you narrow down your niche, it's going to help create curiosity with people. It's going to help you build relationships with people. And it's also going to offer a solution to a problem that people have. So that's the kind of the 5 things that you need to be focusing on whenever you're picking your niche. It doesn't necessarily have to be about health. Let's get over. Okay. It doesn't have to be about gut health. Obviously, it definitely isn't. Your niche is not plexus. Mine is actually holistic hacks and hormone hacks, or holistic health and hormone hacks. So that is kind of my thing, because that's something that I am super passionate about it. I talked about it way before I ever started Plexus. So it's kind of been my thing for a lot of years. But I posted about all these other things, but now that I've focused in on that one certain area, I'm starting to get a lot more interaction. Your reputation is your personal brand. It's you, and whatever subject that you pick, it's not plexus. So just remember that. Keep the products out of your feed. Brock always said that you can post about your niche only in your feed, and in your stories you can let your freak flag fly. That has been my most favorite saying. Let your I can't even really say it, your freak flag fly in your stories. That means you can literally post anything and everything in your stories. Okay, Angie. Where's this with me?
Sorry, I was just talking away and you can hear me. Okay, so now we're going to talk to about your niche, and what is your niche? And okay, so the thing is, like, you don't have to be an expert. Okay, so hold on, let me just go here. You can create an entire account over 100,000 followers just by resharing other people's content. And if you have a second, you want to pull out your phone, I want you to look at home workouts _ for, and then the letter U. And if you go and look at that, I mean, it's exactly what it says. It's all at home workouts. This is actually Shelley's one of her accounts, and all she does on there is repost other people's content of what? At home workouts. So it's very, very centered in on the niche. So it's really, really important. And I know, like, I too started feeling really anxious. Either you start feeling like, I know about all kinds of things, or you're like, I'm not an expert in anything. Like, what would my niche be? The more you narrow it down, the better it's going to be. So, this is someone else. So for example, like parenting, you wouldn't just say like your niche is parenting and you want to give parenting advice. You need to be more specific on that. So choose to attach like parenting teens and tweens that are out of the box thinkers. So really like honing in, like I help, and then who do you help, very specific, who you help. It doesn't have to have anything to do with health, y'all. And that's like the great thing too. Like, you don't have to be the expert in health and wellness. In fact, your niche doesn't even have to be anything about health or wellness, but you can tie it into that. Health is really for all people. And then, in the past, I know we've said a lot to brand yourself in the health and happiness part of market, but this is a new change, y'all. Your brand can be anything you love to talk about. So when thinking about your brand, I don't want you to get stressed out and overthink about this. Just literally, maybe we can get off the call later tonight and think about things that people always come to you for, or something that you can go down the rabbit hole looking at or reading about or researching, like something that you have a lot of knowledge about and you could just talk about for hours. And there may be a lot of different things, but those are kind of some brainstorming things that you do. And I think I'm going to get a little more into that in just a minute. So an example like of a niche would be like Emily, I was going to say Gibson, Emily
Roberts.
Robert. Sorry, I was like, I could see her. I couldn't think of her last name. Okay, so hers is, millennial mama. These are kind of like some notes when she was thinking about her niche. So millennial mama, life after postpartum depression, ADHD, redemption marriage story, renovating my farmhouse, weight loss post cosmetic surgery. The things that you need to think about when you're working on your niche, like, is it something that would be share worthy? Like, no offense, but people don't really care about you. They care about what value you can give them. So you got to think when they come to your page, is that going to be something share worthy that they're going to want to come back because they're like, oh, wow, Brandy, she knows so much about hormone health. I want to go to her page because she has so much great information there. And I've got some information that I can share, with my friend Krista or whatever, like you want it to be something that they can come back for. Is it share worthy? Does it add value? Is someone going to look at this and think what's in it for them? And look at this and think, and is it funny and relatable? When you're going and posting things, you can keep your account, but if you're kind of like, I still want to post about my kids and my family, you can start a new account. But I mean, I don't think that and I think that we even talked to her about it. She didn't really recommend, and I wouldn't recommend starting a new account. I would just recommend trying to niche down into the account that you already have.
Yes, I totally agree with that. She said, if you only have like 100 followers and you just want to start over, that's fine. But if you already have, 1,000 or more followers, I mean, why start over? It really just shows progression and it shows that you're a real person. And I mean, she really didn't recommend that at all. So, okay. Okay, so next up is, how to find and share content. So Angie was kind of touching on that a few minutes ago. And just for an example, if you click over to my Instagram page, it's at Brandy Walker 1. And you'll scroll down and you'll see just an apple. So I did a reel, it was just a dessert. Y'all, I literally made, I hate to even say this. I mean, mom kind of did make this when we were growing up, but not the exact same version. I literally just videoed this as I was going. I just kind of made it up, the recipe, and it was shared 104 times. And, that has made me rethink, like you can go back and see your insights on Reels, or really any post, but you can see your insights if you've got it set up for as a professional account or a creator account. And we highly recommend that you do that because it's super important that you're able to see your insights and, how many times something was shared, how many views it's gotten, how many times it was saved, comments, and all that. But this one it was shared 71 times and it was saved 104 times. My face is not in that at all. And it was literally just a little, chopping up an apple, put it in the microwave and adding, like some cinnamon and stuff to it. It was very, very simple, but it was something that like taught people how to do something. And so, going forward, I want to start focusing more on posts like that because it works for my account. And so you'll want to kind of scroll back and see what you've done so far, or maybe just kind of look at, a few other people and ask some other people that have been doing Instagram for a while and see kind of what works for them. But you have to know that just because something works for one person, it may not work for you, but something else might work well for you. So you just kind of have to play around with it and see what works best. So the app, I'm using one called Reposta. It's Reposta. And then there's another one just called Repost. I think it's Repost with the plus sign, but if you just type in Instagram Repost in your app store, there's all these different apps that come up. And if you download the app, then it's super simple to go and repost other people's reels. And you go ahead and find, content that's already viral, something that's already got a whole bunch of views and a whole bunch of likes and, engagement, then that's going to be a good one to share as long as it goes along with your niche already. And I started seeing a lot of Jules do this right after we had this training. And I was like, holy cow, could not believe the views they were getting and the engagement just by using somebody else's content. And they even said right on the post, it's a repost from so-and-so. And, they just use their post. So that is definitely a thing now, and it's totally okay to use. And like that,
it feels so free.
Yeah, that one workout page that Angie was talking about, every single post on there is just someone else's home workout that they posted. And whoever, I don't know if it's Shailene that's doing it or probably her, she's probably got an assistant, but they just scour Instagram and find these home workouts and repost them on that page. And she's got like a gazillion followers on there already just from using other people's content. She doesn't even have one workout on there herself. So I think that's pretty cool. Also, so when you find this content, make sure you review the top hashtags. And that's another whole training really, is how to, figure out what the top hashtags are. But there's tons and tons of YouTube videos on this. Insta Club Hub has training on it. There's apps out there that can teach you, but I would just recommend just getting on YouTube and just watching a couple of videos, or Brock's page. Again, make sure the content kind of matches your vibe and your niche that you have. I'm not going to go in how to actually copy and paste it, but it's literally very simple. You just copy the link, you open the Repost app, and then it will kind of appear on your Instagram, and then you just copy and paste. It's really simple. Let's see if there's anything else. There's a quote that says, marketing is a competition for people's attention. And y'all, that's really what this is. Like Angie said, we used to just post no more than once a day. That was kind of too much. And now we're back to as many times as you can post a day on Instagram, the better. And I think that's really cool. But again, like Angie said, if even posting once a day is a lot, that's okay. Commit to 4 days a week or even 3 days a week, but just pick a number and stick to it. So that way your followers will kind of, they'll start to realize, hey, she's not posting every day, but she's going to post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or she posts every, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning. And you can even go in your stories and like give it a reminder, hey, be looking for a reel for me on Tuesday, or be looking for a reel for me on Thursday. That's, at such and such time. And that kind of helps your followers know what to expect from you. Okay. Angie?
Sorry, I forgot to hit that mute. Okay, so now we're going to talk about feed posts, your bios, stories, DM, and all of that fun stuff. So your feed posts are how people find you. A lot of times when they go to your feed and they look at your bio, that's a lot of times why they follow you, is whatever is in your bio. And then like in your feed, your stories, when people like you, so it's starting to build that, like, they know you from your feed post, from your bio, they like you, they begin to like you and know you more. And on the stories, I mean, that's where people can really get to know you, like you, and begin to trust you. And when they trust you, they're gonna like get in your DMs and they're gonna start messaging with you, or they're gonna, like your stories or whatever, to get into your DMs, and then they're gonna buy from you. So that's like potential customers.
Okay.
Oh, I was like,
Can I say something?
Yes.
I actually went to a family. It's actually a funeral. My uncle passed away this past weekend, and I went to the funeral. And I had not seen some of those people in so long, but y'all, so many people came up. They remember when my dog passed away on Valentine's Day last year. They knew what trips I had been on. They knew. I mean, they asked me so many questions, just like I had seen them yesterday. And it's because I share all this stuff in my stories all the time. And people that I really probably would not have even gone up and talked to, because I mean, a couple of them I probably never had a conversation with, but we were friends on Facebook and are on Instagram, and they already knew what was going on. So, I mean, it does work if you're consistently sharing in your stories.
So I want to talk a little bit about your bio. So I know at one time on Instagram, it was like the thing to put, I think we're still on that, Brandy. I still have a few things.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, sorry. So on Instagram, it was like, to put the healthy, happy mama, or the go-to gut girl, or the whatever it is, like. And I remember, honestly, that always stressed me out, because I was like, I don't know what name I should pick. And I never ever did. So if your name is that, it's okay, but it is recommended that you change your account name to your first name and your last name. Now, if you have a very like common, I guess, yeah, it is kind of showing on here. Oh, it is right. Yeah. Username. If this is your main account and you aren't tied to a username, make this your name. So instead of like, because what happens is, she gave an example of how she saw someone out, and then she was like, hey, bringing up bigs, like whatever. So having your name, she did really recommend having your username as your name. And I know, like, here she still has bringing up bigs, but then she does have down here, she has her name, and then kind of like what her gentle parenting teens. I just personally kept my username, because I'm going to talk to you about this little, where she has Nikki and gentle parenting teens. I personally just kept at Angie Zumwalt, so they know that that's my name. And for me personally, like, I'm going to also tell you why. Right here where it has Nikki gentle parenting teens, this little gem right here is the only like searchable feature. I mean, there's a lot of searchable features, but it is one of the searchable features when people go look for. So you look at, like, for example, I think I put like wellness and freedom. So when people search for wellness or freedom or whatever, my profile can come up. So that is a searchable thing. And so that's why I think in there that, you're going to put something a little bit more specific about your niche. So she's got general parenting for teens. So she kind of narrows it down to her niche there. Yeah, so it's the name. This is your only searchable thing. So make sure that that's your niche. So also on your picture, you want to make sure that it's just you, not you with your kids and, your dog or whatever it is. You want it to be you. You want it to be just your face, not a full body shot. You want it to be a close up of your face, no sunglasses on, no whatever. I mean, you could have like a hat on or whatever, but you want people to be able to see your face and see your eyes. And you want it kind of zoomed in like shot for your profile. And then for your bio, it would be like, I help, I empower, I encourage, and then like, who do you serve? So let's be really specific. Like Nikki here was, I support moms of teens and tweens. How do you support moms and teens at tweens? Like by, and then how do you serve them? So I help, then think about who do you serve, by, and how do you serve them? So Nikki's is, I support moms of teens and tweens who are outside of the box thinkers by sharing my struggles and successes with gentle parenting. I think Brandy has a really good one too. Let me figure out what mine is. My help sentence for bio, my help statement is, I empower women to create a freedom lifestyle. So I'm very specific, and I probably need to hone down on that even more. Instead of just saying women, I need to probably say moms, or I'm working on making that more specific. But right now I empower women to create a freedom lifestyle for their families, plus keep them healthy from the cradle to the cross. So the one thing that I think I need to hone in on, like what kind of women? Middle-aged women, moms, moms of tweens, so you want to be very, very specific. And actually, when I created that help statement last year, I remember my Instagram coach telling me like, okay, Angie, you really want to hone in. And I was like, well, if I just say women, then I'm like, I'm not including, if I say moms, then I've got people on my team that aren't moms, and they're going to feel like I don't help them. And that is not true. It's all about honing into your niche market. And that's how you're really going to start create a big following and gain customers, gain team members, is by really honing in on that.
Yes. And y'all, she was so adamant about this niche thing. And she's like, she just kept going over and over and over. Like, Angie was saying, well, what about, can I post this or can I post that? And she's like, yes, in your stories, but on your feed, it's got to be just niche content, unless whatever is already working.
She was saying, very like pick very specific, focused topic. And it, like God will show you your niche, and if it needs to change, it will. So, I mean, don't feel like just because you're like, okay, I'm going to start with this, and then you're like, we can always be rebranding and transforming until we kind of find our groove. So don't feel like, you tried out something for a couple months and maybe that's not really working. And so, I can't change it because now I'm locked into this. Like literally, give it a little while, test drive it. And if that doesn't feel right, then you can change it. When you confuse, I like this. When you confuse, you lose. So don't confuse your audience. Something that I really, really liked, and I don't even know if it's in this, I don't think it's in the slideshow presentation, but she talked about when people are kind of like all over the place with their posting. And I've definitely been guilty of this. So it's like, I post, I mean, I don't know, you're just kind of like all over the place. And she showed a picture of a car, and that's something that like really stood out to me, because it was like a Porsche, and in the middle of the Porsche they had like, you know, this really crappy truck and then this other car. And so it was like all pieced together. So it wasn't like the whole car, it was like a junky truck, a junky car, and then a really nice car. So, and that's what she's saying, by being all over the place and not honing in on your niche, that's what your Instagram looks like. So you really gotta like zero in and work on just talking about a specific focused topic.
Right. And you also have to think about, like, whenever you want to follow somebody, someone that you don't know, like, I mean, I follow this girl that does lashes. I mean, I don't want to see, her kids' play dates. And I mean, that's not what I'm going to her Instagram page for. They're cute, but that's just not what I'm following her for. So you just have to think about it like that. Okay.
And it's like, I love when she said, you know, when new viewers like look at your page, they decide in less than 7 seconds whether or not they want to follow you. So that's why your help statement and all of those things are so very important.
Yes. And I mean, just now, I've got my phone pulled up here, and I'm looking at my statement, and I need to change it because it's still not as specific as it needs to be. And she said, don't, like Angie was saying, you can tweak yours anytime you want. I think the only thing that you cannot change is your name. I think you can only change your name maybe once a month.
Once like every couple months or something like that.
So, but just your name, like I don't know if y'all can even see this, but like your name at the very top. But like down here where mine says hormone hacks, I could actually put my name in there. And that's what she's saying is the searchable one. So I'm gonna edit that somehow so that my name is also in that, because sometimes I even get emails from people and it's they use hormone as my name. So I need to kind of edit that a little bit. I can still have hormone in there, but I need to put my name in it as well. Okay. So I think the last one, and I know this call has gone a little bit longer than we normally do, but y'all, there's so much information that we wanted to get to y'all, because Instagram has gotten fun. Like it's really, it made me really, sorry, changing the view here. It made me really nervous for a while, and I wasn't quite sure. And, after hearing Shailene speak, I mean, she was just like, just put it out there, just do it. Like your gut, you can only learn by doing it. And, people don't like perfection anymore. So it's totally okay. And it made me feel a whole lot better, because nothing I ever do is ever perfect. And I personally like to follow those people that just are like, their hair's in a bun and they're, just doing their normal life. So, okay. So next, make sure that you're using 10 to 12 hashtags that fit your niche, and not like, it used to be like 30 or more hashtags was kind of the magic number. And now I know this says 10 to 12, but I've even heard like, even 8 to 10 hashtags. So really less is more when it comes to hashtags now. What they say is like when you have 30 or more hashtags, it confuses the algorithm. And so I don't know. I think you have to test that out, because I've heard that, from some accounts say that 30 still works for them, and others that the 10 to 12. For me, the 10 to 12 seems to work better when I use that. Again, I know we talked about this earlier. Make sure that your account is changed to either professional or creator account, and that way you'll be able to see all the insights. And when I say insights, just like all the information about your posts and how many people are following you, how many people unfollow you, and how many views you get on all your content. Again, the only content that reaches new people is going to be on your feed. So she told us you can, I used to put so much into stories, and that's where I spent most of my time. But she said that's only for people that are already following you. That Instagram is not going to show new people your stories most of the time. It's just going to be from your feed posts. So that was kind of new information to me. So I'm like, oh, okay. And I've started noticing that's right. I don't get as many views on my stories as I do on my feed post. That's not the case for everybody, but that's just how it's working for me. So make sure that your feed posts are share worthy and they offer value. So again, just the cute pictures of your dog, and unless that's your niche, that needs to go in your story. And the more things that you can teach your audience, or you can make them laugh, or you can entertain them, that's the kind of post that you're going to want to put in your feed. And again, let your freak flag fly in your stories. That means you can just post anything and everything. And I know Angie went over this, but whenever you're posting in your stories, they said no less than like 5. When they say 5 stories, like a story is 1 frame. And Brock said, if you even set an alarm on your phone, I know it seems like a lot of work, but the reason for spreading those stories out instead of posting like, 15 in a row like we used to do, each time that you put a new frame out, your followers will get a notification, or it will show up. Even if they don't get a notification, it'll show up in their stories each time that you put something new. So if you've already put one up and they've already seen that and you're adding to it, you're just adding a whole bunch, they're going to just scroll right through that, and then they're not going to see anything else. But the more times throughout the day that you add a frame, the more chances they are to see your stuff. So I've tested that out too, and it really works. It's kind of crazy that, I used to just put them all together and I didn't get as many views, but whenever I'm starting to spread them out, I can see the difference. Again, use polls in your stories. That's how you're going to get people in your DMs. When they reply to something, you can go straight from that, the poll, and reply to them right away. And that just kind of gets conversations going. And now that I've been doing that, I have certain people that I've never met them from Adam, but they're always commenting on my stuff. And now we're starting to have conversations in the DMs that I would never before. I probably just would have been like, oh, okay, they voted. But even on just silly stuff, I try to put polls on almost not completely everything, but most everything. That way, even if it's just the little thing where they, you slide the smiley face over or whatever, that's still interaction. That's getting people to engage with your post. So, and just have fun with it. Don't get too stressed about it. We have a chat thread in Instagram for anybody on our teams that, that you're trying to work Reels and you're trying to work Instagram, and that way we can kind of help comment on each other's Reels, and you can ask questions in there. So when we get off this call, if you want to be added to that chat thread, just let us know, because it's been really helpful, and we can share Reels from like Brock and different influencers that we see that's got helpful information about Instagram. And so it has been a lot of fun. One last thing is when you're making Reels, and that's another whole training on how to do Reels. And if you're stressed and you're like, I don't even know how to make a Reel, y'all just take a morning and get on YouTube or follow Brock or ask one of us and just figure out how to do a Reel. It's really not that hard once you just sit down, you figure it out. And then that's when the fun part starts. Then you can start like batching Reels. Even you can just sit down and make 4 or 5 Reels in one day, and then you got your content for the whole week, and you can go back and edit them and make your posts to go with it. You can do that even on another day, but just a day that you feel cute or whatever. And you don't even have to be cute. That's the great thing about Instagram is if you feel comfortable doing with your messy bun after your workout, that's awesome. And just go ahead and knock out some Reels. You can change clothes, or just like how we used to say you can change your hat or change your shirt to do different photos, so you can have a whole bunch of content to use for a week or two on Facebook. You do the same thing with Reels. You can just change out your clothes, and it just takes a lot of stress off because you've already done the Reels and they're done. So Angie was saying how she saves other people's Reels. What I do is I have an app called Google Keep, and I just, I'll save, like, I'll copy the link to a reel that I like. I put it in Google Keep, and then I'll make a little note about, what my idea is for that reel. What I'm going to do. And I've got probably, I don't know, 30 or so saved right now that I can just, when I get a time, sometimes it's even in my car when I'm just sitting there waiting on, somebody, I can knock out a 30-second reel just in my car. So I've got them already saved, and I've got them labeled what I want, and I can even search them. So that's just a kind of a tip. Or you can just send them to yourself on Instagram. I did that for a while too. So at least I have some that are already saved up, and whenever you start getting creative, you can go in and do your reels. Does anybody have any questions? Because I think that's our last one. I can't see if anybody's raising their hand or anything. If you do, oh wait, there's the chat. Okay, I'm just reading through the comments here. Yes, Kristen, the folder in your notes. I mean, you can do it really in any app that you have, but just when you think of ideas, just go ahead and jot them down and save the link to the reels with it. And then, I mean, it just goes so much faster. Yeah, Dana, it is a lot to chew on. So don't stress about, learning all the things at once. This is just all the stuff that we learned whenever we were in Arizona. And so we wanted to kind of put it in one call for y'all. But, there's so much more that you can do, but just focus right now, focus on your bio and focus on what your niche is going to be, and run it by somebody. Ask your friends, or ask when they think of you, what do they think? And just trying to remember what it is that you could talk about all day long and not ever get tired of talking about it, so that you can teach somebody or make them laugh. If nobody else has any questions, I guess that's it. Angie, you have anything else to add?
No, I think that was good. And like I said, there, like Brandy was saying, there's a lot more information that we can go into detail. And maybe that would be something we might break down in another call. So if there's more things that you would like to learn a little more, deeply about, just let us know, like delve into more, and maybe we can break those up into kind of small, deep diving calls.
Yes. All right. Thanks, you guys. And
Thank you.
I recorded this, so we'll get it posted in our team pages so y'all can share with your team. So, all right. Thanks for getting on, y'all.